Generally, we all believe that to be successful and to achieve something significant, one must endure hardship and overwork, learning many things, and doing many tasks. However, this book argues that to succeed and achieve exceptional accomplishments, one must learn to give up many things and focus on doing the most important thing. Doing just one thing is enough. Hello, welcome to our daily book dive. Today, we are discussing a book titled The One Thing, written by an American Gary Keller, who is the chairman of Keller Williams Real Estate, one of the largest real estate companies in the world, and the author of several bestsellers that have sold millions of copies globally. You can find the links to the book in the description below. First, let's look at the title, The One Thing. What does it mean? Typically, we think that to succeed and achieve something, one must endure hardship and overwork, learning and doing many things. However, the author of this book says that if you want to succeed and achieve exceptional accomplishments, you must learn to give up many things and focus on doing the most important thing. Doing just one thing is enough. The author believes that because this truth is so simple, many people find it hard to believe. Interestingly, Gary Keller himself did not initially believe that this approach would work, and it took him a long time to grasp this concept. In the first part of his entrepreneurial journey, Gary Keller spent 10 years building an excellent company. During this time, he was very successful and confident that the company could quickly expand its operations worldwide. Unexpectedly, the company suddenly faced significant difficulties. Despite his efforts and sacrifices, the business was a mess, showing no signs of improvement. At that time, he felt trapped, desperately seeking help from those around him, hoping someone could pull him out. Then, a mentor came to his aid. During a walk, after fully understanding the details, the mentor began to think about how to solve his problem. By the time their walk was nearly over, the mentor had devised a specific solution. The mentor asked Gary Keller, "What do you think you need to do to turn the situation around?" Confused, Gary shook his head. The mentor wrote down 14 key positions on the wall and said, "You only need to do one thing to turn around the awkward situation of the entire company, and that is to assign these 14 key positions to the right people. If you choose the right people for these 14 key positions, the whole company can develop in a positive direction." Gary was shocked. He could not believe that the solution was so simple. He asked the mentor if the solution should be a bit more complex, wondering if doing a few more things to turn a loss into a profit would be safer. The mentor replied succinctly and powerfully, "No need. Jesus only needed 12 disciples. You only need people in these 14 key positions." This moment had a transformative significance in Gary Keller's life. After discussing with the mentor, he made a major decision to fire himself, stepping down from the CEO position to focus on finding people for these 14 key positions. What was the result? He found the 14 key individuals. In less than 3 years, the company achieved sustained profitability, with profits growing by 40% annually for 10 consecutive years, rapidly evolving from a regional company into a national one. Then, a new problem arose. When discussing work with these 14 key individuals, Gary Keller would first summarize the tasks they committed to completing at the current stage. What troubled him was that, although these 14 people could complete most of the tasks they promised him, sometimes the most important tasks were not completed, causing their work to fall into disarray. Gary tried to communicate with them, simplifying their tasks from the several tasks needed this week to the most important 3 tasks of the week, and then to the most important 2 tasks of the week, but still saw no effect. Finally, he decided to try the just do one thing method. He asked them, "What is the most important single task for you this week? Which task, once completed, would make other tasks easier or less important?" This method was born out of his desperation, but it once again brought a surprise. Afterward, the performance of these 14 key individuals soared dramatically. Having experienced these 2 crises, Gary Keller began to summarize the relationship between the company's conditions and his practices, discovering an interesting phenomenon. Every time the company achieved tremendous success, it was when he focused on doing one thing. Gary Keller pondered a question. Every person has 24 hours a day. Why do some succeed while others fail? Why can successful people accomplish more, achieve higher goals, earn more money, and own more things. If we consider time as the original capital of a person's career, then everyone's original capital is 24 hours a day. How do successful people allocate their original capital and achieve returns far exceeding others? Gary Keller believes the answer is successful people's actions and energies are tightly focused around their goals. They succeed because they give up many things that could be done but are not necessary and focus on the most important thing. Whether in work or life, to achieve the best results, you should try to narrow your goals. However, most people do not believe this. They think that to achieve great things, they must spend a lot of time and face many challenges. Therefore, they plan their schedules very full, and their calendars are extremely busy, yet success gets further and further away from them. Everyone's time and energy are limited. If you try to cover everything, you are likely to be exhausted and unable to manage any area well. If you aim to thrive in multiple areas, you might actually reduce efficiency. Excessive pressure can prevent you from completing tasks on time, eating well, sleeping properly, exercising, and spending time with family and friends. In Gary Keller's view, this is a deviation. Success actually has a shortcut, which is what we mentioned earlier, focusing your time and energy on the most important thing. Yet, most of us do not do this regularly because we have many misconceptions about success. We often hear too many lies about success, which actually mislead us and hinder our achievement. In the second part of the book, since it talks about the one thing, Gary Keller deliberately collected many maxims that conflict with this statement, such as everything is important, doing several things at once is more efficient, and discipline and willpower can solve all problems. He believes all of these are lies. Let's look at the first one. Everything is important. In life, we often find ourselves in a dilemma. We have to do many things every day, and some tasks that are not completed one day are postponed to the next. Then the tasks keep piling up, becoming impossible to finish. We are busier than what is normally manageable, but success does not come closer because we are busy. We work harder, but do not gain more, because much of our busyness is blind. Mistaking that everything is important and trying to complete them all is a common mistake we make. To finish all the tasks, we have to hope for time management. Listing a to-do list is indeed a useful method, which can effectively help us focus, but we are often also restricted by the list, as if we must complete every task listed, and inadvertently, the order in which we handle tasks is also influenced by the list. Successful people handle tasks differently from ordinary people. Before making decisions, they think thoroughly until they find the main task, then take the main task as the core and do other tasks around it. They are likely to do the tasks that ordinary people would usually postpone first. Regarding the to-do list, they also have a clear understanding. Compared to a cumbersome and lengthy to-do list, they prefer a short and powerful success list. How do successful people transform an ordinary list into a success list? Let's take a look at the findings of Joseph Juran. Juran was a master of deciphering codes and made outstanding contributions to both the scientific and business fields. His achievements caught the attention of General Electric. General Electric invited him to review the company's compensation distribution plan for management, based on the theory of the Italian economist Pareto. In the 19th century, Pareto calculated and proposed a view. 20% of the world's population owns 80% of the wealth. This was originally about the problem of uneven wealth distribution. But Juran realized that this could be a universal law. Later, we called this law the Pareto Principle. The Pareto Principle suggests that the causes, inputs, and efforts that bring about a large amount of results, outputs, and returns are often few. In other words, success distribution is also unfair. Small investments often lead to great successes. Therefore, selective effort can effectively yield returns. Gary Keller himself is an example. A few decisive moments brought him the success he has today. Take investments, for example. Most of his wealth comes from a few correct investments. Therefore, we can refer to the Pareto Principle to transform a to-do list into a success list. From the tasks you need to do, pick out the most important 20%. Then, narrow down within this 20% until you find the most important task. The second lie about success is doing several things at once is more efficient. Since doing the most important thing is key, why do we still need to do other things simultaneously? In 2009, a professor at Stanford University conducted a study. He wanted to see how so-called multitaskers managed to complete several tasks at the same time. He told a reporter from the New York Times that he did not have this ability, so he had always been very envious of those who could. The professor led a research team that distributed over 200 questionnaires to investigate students' situations of handling multiple tasks at the same time. They divided the survey participants into those who often handled multiple tasks at once and those who did not, speculating that those who often multitasked had higher work efficiency. But the results were unexpectedly contrary. The professor said, "I originally thought that multitaskers must have some kind of magical ability, but it turned out they simply couldn't grasp the essentials. They seemed to have covered all bases, as if nothing could stump them, but in reality, they didn't do well in anything." So, the idea that a person can handle several tasks simultaneously is just a pleasant lie. The problem is that this practice is very popular now, and many people believe they should handle several tasks at once and spare no effort in doing so. We often regard this way of working as a sign of high efficiency and frequently discuss how to master this skill. Companies also consider it an advantage when recruiting, but in fact, it is just a blind lie. Handling several tasks at once is neither efficient nor successful. If you try to do two things at once, the result is either that you can't do it at all or that you don't do well in both tasks. There's a saying, handling several tasks at once is equivalent to messing up several tasks at once. Sometimes we can indeed do two things at once, like walking while talking, eating while looking at a map, but we cannot simultaneously do two tasks that require our focus. Strangely, modern people particularly like to give others the impression of being multitaskers. For example, working while listening to music, driving while making phone calls, eating while playing with a phone. Sometimes it's not that we have too little time or too many tasks, but that we keep hinting to ourselves to do more things at once. We hope to do 2 or even 3 tasks in the time originally allocated for one. Take our work scenario, for example. Our office is a place that demands everyone to be capable of doing many things at once. You are focusing on a certain project, and suddenly, someone coughs and asks if you have any cough drops. The sound of phones ringing in the office is incessant, and no one can escape it. You seem to never finish handling the emails in your inbox. Your phone keeps vibrating to notify you of new messages. A pile of parcels hasn't been unpacked. A bunch of tasks hasn't been done. Yet people constantly ask you about the progress of the tasks. Distractions, interruptions, and disruptions occur every moment. Research shows that typically an employee in an office is interrupted every 11 minutes, and they spend a third of their day recovering from these interruptions. But even so, we still have to complete tasks within the specified time. Handling multiple tasks? Switching back and forth among tasks? Such statements are just self-deception. Researchers have found that switching tasks is not cost-free. If the tasks are simple, the additional time cost is less than or equal to 25%. If the tasks are complex, the additional time is likely to exceed 100%. We find that we waste an average of 28% of our workday on task switching. We are not even aware of the high price we pay for the image of being multitaskers. The third lie about success is discipline and willpower can solve all problems. Often we tie success and willpower together, as if having willpower guarantees success. But the problem is, for most of us, willpower is not something you can summon at will or have whenever you want, nor is it inexhaustible. You can think of willpower like the remaining battery indicator on a mobile phone. Every morning, it might be fully charged, but as time passes, you keep using your stored power and it gets depleted. You need to find an appropriate time to recharge it, rather than continuously using it. We all know to plan the use of limited resources, yet we do not regard such important willpower as a personal limited resource to plan for. By the time we really need willpower to complete important tasks, it may have already run out. Modern research shows that willpower indeed fades quickly, is enormously powerful but not long-lasting. After using willpower, the glucose content in our blood drops sharply. We can think of willpower as a kind of resilient mental muscle that requires a relatively long time to recover. If you use too much willpower on one task and do not wait for it to recover before investing in another, our performance will be unsatisfactory. At this time, you need to replenish your brain with nutrients, such as foods that slowly raise blood sugar, like carbohydrates and proteins. So, to make good use of willpower, we need to consciously seize the moment, do the most important tasks when our willpower is strongest, and complete it before willpower is exhausted. Discipline is also not something that can be easily handled. From a human nature perspective, you cannot demand yourself to be disciplined at every moment, but you should cultivate a certain habit through a fixed training method and a long enough training period. The trick to success is to choose the right habit, train yourself to cultivate this habit, and once this habit becomes part of your life, you appear disciplined to others. At the beginning of cultivating a habit, we might find it particularly difficult, but once the habit is formed, maintaining it is much easier than developing it. So, how long does it take for discipline to become a habit? A survey by the University of London provides us with a clear answer. It takes an average of 66 days to form a habit. Sometimes we are encouraged that a habit can be formed in just 21 days, but this is unrealistic, so don't give up too soon. Researchers in Australia also discovered a halo effect during the habit-forming process. In the experiment, students who developed good habits generally reported less stress, reduced impulse shopping, better eating habits, decreased frequency of watching TV, and even improvement in situations like leaving dirty dishes unwashed. This shows that maintaining good habits not only becomes easier, but also brings benefits to other aspects of life. We all know the swimming champion Michael Phelps, who was diagnosed with attention deficit disorder as a child. His kindergarten teacher told his mother, "Phelps is always restless and cannot calm down. Sorry, your son is completely unable to concentrate." However, this young man, seemingly unrelated to focus and success, set one world record after another. His mother proudly said, "Michael's level of concentration amazes me." His swimming coach also praised his focus as the most powerful weapon. Why did Phelps undergo such a transformation? The secret lies in his training habits over the years. From the age of 14 to the 2008 Beijing Olympics, Phelps insisted on training 7 days a week, spending 6 hours underwater each day without interruption. He allocated all his energy to this most important thing. This discipline and habit found him a place in the pool and brought him tremendous success. Part 3. After clarifying these lies about success, we can return to the theme of this book. There is only one most important thing, but what exactly is it? You need to ask yourself a key question. What is the most important thing I can do? Why, by doing this thing, will other things become easier or no longer necessary? This question can be broken down into 3 parts. What is the most important thing I can do? This question inspires you to take action. The most important thing means the answer is one thing, one specific thing, not many things. Although you may have many options, you need to make a judgment. Otherwise, you cannot continue to do the second thing, the third thing. You must choose one most important thing to do. I can do prompts you to take possible actions. Can do. Not must do, might do, or will do. There are many things we must do, might do, will do, but never do. Because you can do, you do it, and this power is much greater than just wanting to do. What will happen after doing this thing, and this is talking about your answer, must meet a standard. This standard shifts you from just find something to do something for a specific goal. After doing this thing, something else will happen means you must dig deeper, because after doing this one thing, another thing will happen. Make other things easier or no longer necessary. Archimedes said, "Give me a lever long enough and a fulcrum on which to place it, and I shall move the world." You must find such a lever, making other things easier or no longer necessary. After doing the most important thing, you will find that the other tasks needed to achieve your goal can be done with less effort or are not necessary at all. You can turn a blind eye to trivial matters, as if wearing a blindfold. Only then might you change the trajectory of your life and focus on doing that most important thing. Key questions will guide you to find your most important thing at different stages of life. During different periods, You only need to shift your attention and rethink what the key question is. To have happiness, the most important thing is to fully engage in your career, making your life more meaningful. When the things we do every day gradually reach a goal, happiness will follow. The way to achieve success is to understand what is truly important to you and to achieve it through incremental accumulation. The author of this book, Gary Keller, offers a very practical suggestion, which is the reverse method. First, consider the long-term goal, then think back step by step and deduce the most important thing you should do now. Please think about it. For the long-term goal, what is the most important thing I should do in the next 5 years? For the 5-year goal, what is the most important thing I should do this year? For this year's goal, what is the most important thing I should do this month? For this month's goal, what is the most important thing I should do this week? For this week's goal, what is the most important thing I should do today? For today's goal, what is the most important thing I should do right now? Link all the goals together until you find the most important thing at the moment. Let's take an example. Someone once asked the famous American comedian Jerry Seinfeld how to become a better comedian. Seinfeld said it's about writing a joke every day. His method was to hang a huge calendar on the wall, and whenever he wrote down a joke, he would mark that day on the calendar with a big red cross. He said, the row of red crosses would grow longer, and he would really like to see it continue, and the only thing he had to do was not to let it break. Perseverance is not a long-distance run, but a series of short runs linked together. This is the main content of the book, The One Thing. The author tells us that about success, we have had many misunderstandings in the past. We thought that to be successful in a career, everything is important. Doing several things at once is more efficient. Discipline and willpower can solve all problems. Actually, these are all lies about success. To achieve extraordinary accomplishments, you must know what is the most important thing you can do, then revolve around this core goal, step by step, and find the most important thing at the moment. Now, think about what is the most important thing for you. Thank you for listening to this book. You can find the link to the book in the description below. If you want to listen to more books like this, leave your comments, give us a like, and subscribe. This encourages me to bring more great book essences and share with you. Thank you.